bookstore has been around since 1596.
Did you just say 1596? Hey loves, welcome back again to my channel. Today we are going to be checking out I really respect Germany for this. I'm so excited and curious for this one. If you're new on the channel, please consider liking, subscribe, and let's get right into today's reaction.
In Schwäbisch Hall there is In Schwäbisch Hall there is a bookstore that I like to stop into from time to time. Irrelevant but interesting side note, that bookstore has been around since 1596.
Did you just say 1596? How many centuries is that? And it's in existence to date? Okay.
Wow. Now, in that bookstore, there's a small little English section where I found this book called Why the Germans Do It Better. Now, I'm only like 30 pages into the book, so I can't really recommend it or not recommend it yet. I will say it is pretty interesting so far. But what has caught my eye and made me want to make this video were two sentences on the first page of the book. Now, I've got to read two paragraphs to give you context for the two sentences. And here it is. In January 2021, Germany turned 150 years old, but its people barely marked that milestone. Germany, from the time of Bismarck to that of Hitler, is synonymous with militarism, war, the Holocaust, and division. No country has caused so much harm in so little time. And yet, two nearby anniversaries tell a different history. In November 2019, millions celebrated 30 years since the Berlin Wall came down. In October 2020, 3 decades had passed since reunification. Half of modern Germany's lifespan has been a tale of horror, war, and dictatorship. The other half is a remarkable tale of atonement, stability, and maturity. No country has achieved so much good in so little time. Those two sentences at the end of each paragraph. No country has caused so much harm in so little time.
No country has achieved so much in so little time. No country has caused harm in so that little time. I would love to read that book. It's so powerful, to be honest.
And no country has achieved so much good in so little time. All right, everybody, of course, knows all the bad terrors from World War II and the Holocaust, but one thing I think a lot of people don't really know about, and I didn't really know about until I came to Germany, was how well this country does and how much effort it puts into making sure those horrible things never happen again in the future. And a big part of that is education on what had happened in the past. You know, the old saying, those who do not know history are doomed to repeat it. I think Germany takes that pretty seriously. In the introduction of this book, a very powerful memorial tool is mentioned. Something that I've known about since my first year in Germany, something that I see all the time, something that whenever my family members come here to visit, I point it out to them and they always find it very powerful as well. I see these things all the time, and now that I'm actually looking for them, I can't seem to find them. But I know there's quite a few here. Stolpersteine, or stumbling stones. Now, I'll let Rachel from DW's Meet the Germans explain.
One subtle yet striking part of the memorial culture in Germany are the Stolpersteine, or stumbling stones. These small brass squares are inscribed with the names of victims of the Nazi regime and set into the pavement outside their last known address. The project was started in the 90s by German artist Gunter Demnig, and today there are more than 75,000 stumbling stones across Germany and other countries. But even this is not without controversy. The city of Munich has actually banned the stones from being installed on public ground, after some people, including a prominent Jewish community leader, argued that it was disrespectful to commemorate victims with something on the ground that you can walk over. The city has instead opted for wall plaques like this one.
So I can understand the controversy behind some of these. I mean, these are supposed to be memorials that pay respect to victims, and if they're on the ground, people can walk over them, and just by nature, that's not a respectful act. So I understand a little bit of the controversy behind them, but I'm actually a fan of these. In my opinion, it lowers the barrier of entry for modern day people to learn about history and to be educated about history. It's one thing to be interested and to go to a museum and read and see memorials and learn about it like that. But it's a whole other thing to just be going about your day-to-day life in your city and coming across these memorials that bring history right to you today. You know, you can't help but see those and think about the victims of those horrible events back in the day. It's a pretty powerful experience to be walking into a cafe or restaurant, seeing these stumbling stones on the ground, reading the names of the people and what their ultimate fate was, and then going into that building and looking at the walls, at the floor, at the window, and now having a connection to individual people or families, and to actually be able to think about them while you're there in that building. I think that's a pretty powerful experience, and it's something that you almost can't help but experience when you see these things. So I'm a fan of these because it makes learning about history and being informed and being able to pay respect to victims, it makes it much more common and like an everyday thing. Yesterday was November 9th, which is a significant day in German history. A lot of important things have happened on November 9th throughout the years in Germany. Two of the big ones are the fall of the Berlin Wall and then Kristallnacht, the Night of the Broken Glass in 1938. And last night I was walking through JARNEHALL and I stumbled across a gathering of people who were basically paying tribute to the victims of Kristallnacht. They were gathering there, giving a little speech about some victims, playing some music, and really making sure that history is not forgotten. I mean, here we are 80 years later in Germany with these German people who had nothing to do with those horrible events of the past, but take a responsibility and feel a responsibility to make sure that history is kept alive and that people don't forget about it, and to make sure that type of stuff doesn't happen again. I really respect that. The more I learn about history, the more I realize that every single country has a dark past. But I think no country addresses their dark past as well as Germany. And I really respect its attitude and behavior on this subject.
70, 80 Jahre danach zu sagen, wir tragen daran Schuld, fände ich viel zu groß. Aber ich glaube, wir tragen eine Verantwortung, das was irgendwo verhindern, dass sowas wieder passiert.
If you're a German viewer, you probably knew about these. This probably isn't anything new to you, but I remember when I first discovered these after coming to Germany from the States, I was like, wow, that's pretty cool that they do that. I think that's a really powerful memorial tool. And I've been meaning to make a video about it for a while, and I think the introduction of this book kind of sparked me to do it. So yeah, guys, that is all for today. Thank you so much for watching my videos. I hope you have a lovely day, and I will see you next time.
That was powerful, to be very honest. I've listened to this comedian talk about the German guilt, something about German guilt. Mikey and Mr. Maya, you're on the channel. It was actually a comedy, but in recent, German history is being taught to newer generation every year in school, and it's a very good thing because, as the saying goes, once you learn about history, it's not bound to repeat, because you learn from history and the likes of them. So he said something that when he was 14, he actually taught himself he invaded Poland. It was funny, but at the same time, they've instilled those things in them, like this is what has happened before and it's not bound to repeat, you get, and everything like that. It's a good thing, but sometimes it has its own pros and cons to it. And learning about the history, the first world, actually, guys, prior to this time, I know Germans to be very innovative, but when it comes to history, it feels like German has never done anything positive in the entire world. But at the same time, the according to the first paragraph of that book, they've done something good and they've done something bad. But most of the time, the bad thing goes further than the good thing that has been done, and I totally get that fact. But seeing the like the reason why you respect German, to be honest, my respect for German goes higher than it is. I'm so sorry for the change in the lighting. The light just went off. So as we are saying, like, my respect for Germans actually goes higher because they've gone through trivial time and they've learned to, to learn from their mistake and never to repeat it again, and it's a good thing to see. Let me know what you think about this video down below. I'll see you guys on my next one. Bye, loves.